a world where the number of movies available is great, but many are so bad, you'll learn a new definition of hate. One man sifts and reviews through the movie sludge. One man will be the movie cop, jury, and judge. He goes by many names, but you know him by Movies Merica.
Hey everybody, welcome on in. Hey, since this week there wasn't really any major new movie releases worth reviewing, I figured we'd go way back to the year 2014 and get into a little Edge of Tomorrow. Roll that intro.
Hey, all you beautiful movie-loving people out there, live from a red carpet somewhere, surrounded by celebrities. This is the Movies Merica podcast with Van Ebert, where movie reviews meet cold brews. Van will review your favorite and maybe not so favorite movies while enjoying some ice-cold beers and saying cheers. Now let's head into the theater and join our illustrious movie reviewer du jour, who's no doubt got the beer ready to pour, Van Ebert.
That's right. The beer is always ready to pour, and it's always extremely drinkable. Yes, absolutely. Hey, everybody, again, welcome to Movies Merica Podcast. Come on in, put your feet up, sit back, lay back, whatever you feel like doing, because it's time to relax here in the Movies Merica Lounge. That's right. And so, hey, since Tom Cruise has been on such a hot streak here, with Top Gun Maverick, I figured, hey, let's show him some more love. We're not going to show Scientology any love. We're going to show Tom Cruise some love. And we're going to go back into the Wayback Machine, back to 2014, like I said already. And we are going to check out his collaboration with Doug Liman and Emily Blunt, otherwise known as Edge of Tomorrow, or yet otherwise known as Live, Die, Repeat.
I'm going to tell you a story. At first, it's going to sound ridiculous. But the longer I talk,
We have to find the keys.
the more rational it's going to appear.
I can't believe you found coffee.
Sugar, right?
Yeah.
Hold on. 3. You like 3.
How many times have we been here? How many times?
For me, it's been an eternity. The invasion will fail. We lose everything. I die within 5 minutes of landing on that beach, along with every other soldier.
How did you do that?
Come on!
Come find me when you wake up.
You do know what's happening to me.
What happened to you happened to me. You hijacked their power.
How do I control it?
You have to die. Every day. Keep coming here and I'll train you. Again. Your leg's broken.
No, I'm good.
Then we better start over.
Oh, come on.
That sounded like that's going to leave a mark. Life's a biatch, and then you die. Or in Tom Cruise's character's case, you die over and over and over and over and over again. Yes. And that is something you'll quickly pick up in this movie. But before we die repeatedly, let's go ahead and get into some crucial info. Yeah, I got to let you guys know that this podcast episode and all my other episodes are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and many, many, many other platforms of the podcast variety. And also, when you're on Apple Podcasts, if you just scroll all the way down to the very bottom below all the episodes, go ahead and check out those cool, fantastic looking 5 stars down there. And feel free to give it a good old 5-star rating. You know what? I will not be offended. Matter of fact, you know what? You might get a free set of steak knives from me. Yep. I might be willing to do that. And also, I believe down there's a write a review button you can click on and just like write a quick review if you like. You know, it doesn't have to be anything long. It can be something very short, you know, like this guy's terrible, this guy's terrific, something like that, you know. So, I mean, I know we live in an ADD society. Keep it pithy, right? And also, if you go to the very top right of Apple Podcasts, if you click on the ellipsis, the 3 dots there, there's a follow the show option, and that lets you download the episodes automatically. So that's one less thing in life you need to worry about. Yeah. Also, if you feel like going to a website, these podcasts are also on moviesmerica.com, or I should say podcast episodes. And I am also on the socials as well. I'm on Twitter and Instagram under Movies Merica. If you want to check out what I post out on there, if you want to get into my DMs there as well, fantastic. That would be just fine. Just fine by this guy. And as always, on every episode, I am going to keep from getting heat stroke during this hard, you know, all this hard slaving over a podcast oven for your listening pleasure. I get dehydrated really easily. It's very hard work. So I got to stay hydrated with a brewski. And so today's lucky brewski will be Bell's Brewery Tropical Oberon Ale. That's right. It's like a wheat ale with mango and guava and passion fruit. Yes, this beer, it's like it just came straight off the beach. You know, it's like it's just some tropical guy like came up out of the water onto the beach and just gave birth to this bottle of beer. It's tropical, I tell you. And it's named after Oberon, you know, the king of the fairies, you know, from medieval literature and all that. So, you know, a Midsummer Night's Dream, Shakespeare, you know, all that stuff. We're cultured here on this episode. Absolutely. So, all right, well, hey, enough of that mumbo jumbo. Let's get right into Tom Cruise's, I was about to say mega hit in 2014, but no. Unfortunately, this movie fell victim to the symptom or the plight of a lot of movies that don't have Marvel over the title, Star Wars over the title, DC over the title, Star Trek over the title. Do you see where I'm going with this? Right. It's not a part of a franchise, or sequel, prequel, spin-off, nothing. It's completely original. Other than the fact that it was based on a manga that is called All You Need Is Kill, but it's not part of any other film franchise. And so because of that, yeah, it didn't do so hot at the box office, you know. So what's the normies? They just man, they are definitely afraid of taking a chance. Getting out of the comfort zone, not their bag, baby. No, not at all. And so, unfortunately, a fantastic movie like Edge of Tomorrow, yeah, didn't get the love that Eternals, quality films like Eternals and Black Widow get. Cue the crickets. Yeah. But hey, enough about that. You know what? But you can, if you didn't go out to the theater, almost 8 years ago or over 8 years ago now, you know what? Hey, if you haven't seen this movie already, you can make amends. Yes, you can check it out on streaming and on demand and all that. Get yourself a hard copy of it, whatever, but I would highly recommend this movie. I mean, because like I said, it's an underappreciated and unwatched movie in its day, in its theatrical release. And it's a totally original work. It's this plot, the story is something where it captivates your imagination. It holds your attention and won't let go. Now, I remember, so one of the main premise of this movie, or one of the main premises of this movie, is that Tom Cruise, something happens to him where every single time he dies, he relives the same day, okay? Groundhog Day, right? Bill Murray, Andy McDowell, 1993, Harold Ramis's classic Groundhog Day, right? Okay? Now, when I first heard of Groundhog Day and I heard about the premise of it, he just repeats the same day over and over again, I remember thinking initially, like, how is this going to be entertaining? You're just going to see the same day over and over again for 90 minutes? That's not going to be cool. That's not going to be entertaining. I don't want that. Well, of course, I saw Groundhog Day, and boy, did I have egg on my face after that. Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's like, may Pugsatani Phil kick me in the face 30 times and 60 times on Sunday. I mean, I was made a fool because Groundhog Day was funny, entertaining. It was a great movie. And so in that same vein, Edge of Tomorrow, with the whole you die, you live, you relive the day, that whole premise, it's just as entertaining as Groundhog Day, if not more. But obviously, this is not a comedy, and it takes place nowhere near Pugsatawny. Okay, but the Doug Liman, the director, and the writers of this movie, they do a fantastic job at making this movie not get boring, because sure, yeah, he repeats the same day, but the editing is just masterful, and the plot devices and the curves and twists this movie takes, and the soundtrack, the pacing of it just makes this movie, and the fact that it repeats every day, just outstanding in its entertainment value. That's for sure. You're going to get a lot of entertainment value out of Edge of Tomorrow. That is faux show. Now, one thing that I noticed in this movie was it gives a lot of kind of visual imagery love to, like, Normandy and the D-Day invasion. The main invasion that takes place like 15, 20 minutes into the movie, that is kind of the inciting incident for the rest of the movie, is they do take a beach. They take off from Heathrow Airport in London, and they show like the sheer cliffs of England, along the shores of the English Channel. And they're flying over to France in these big gunships and this big invasion, and yeah, it definitely looks like the Normandy invasion, circa. And in this movie actually takes place. It was released in 2014, but it's supposed to take place in 2020. So it's like the D-Day invasion, 2020, if you can picture that, and all the high tech stuff that they would have available with a Normandy invasion in 2020, and this movie was released on June 6th, 2014, which was the 70th anniversary of the D-Day invasion. And it goes along just with all the many references to both World Wars, not just World War II, but World War I as well. Emily Blunt's character, Rita Fertasky, she's nicknamed the Angel of Verdun, and Verdun was a battle in France that lasted over a year, and it was like the bloodiest battle of World War I believe. But yeah, it took place over a year, a whole battle over a year, and yeah, like over like 1 million soldiers on both sides died in this Battle of Verdun. But her character in this movie is called the Angel, or nickname Angel of Verdun, and the soldiers, like Emily Blunt's character and Tom Cruise's character, he plays Major William Cage, or Major Bill Cage, and the exosuits that they wear in battle against these aliens. And that's the plot of the movie. Basically, is that the enemy, the big bad guy in the movie, are these aliens called mimics, and Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt and many other characters in the movies are soldiers that are trying to save the world against these aliens called mimics, and they wear these suits called exosuits to help, to fight off the aliens. And the exosuits have claymores on them and guns and grenades and all that stuff. I mean, they're just a really an ultimate fighting weapon, and these exosuits, these were not CGI'd onto the actors in this movie. They are full real. And if you hadn't guessed from Top Gun Maverick and many other Tom Cruise movies, if he can do something without CGI, he will. And it tends to pay off. You know, we the audience, tend to get to see the benefits of that, you know, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm all CGI'd out. Okay. And so I like the fact that Tom likes to roll non-CGI whenever he can. And so, yeah, these exosuits with all these guns and stuff on them were for real, and they weighed like 80 to 90 pounds. And so Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt and other actors playing soldiers, they had to wear these 80 to 90 pound exosuits, and, you know, while they were filming this. And there's a lot of battle scenes in this movie, so, and a lot of takes that they have to do in these scenes. So, yeah, I can imagine that, they were losing some poundage, that's for sure, absolutely. It was probably a pretty good workout. And plus, Emily Blunt, she got in really good shape for this movie, because her character is supposed to be like this badass, like, you know, take no prisoners soldier, like I said, nicknamed the Angel of Verdun. And you don't get a nickname in battle unless you've done something, you know, pretty gritty, pretty heroic. And so she got pretty good shape. So because her character was that, she wanted to get in shape for that. And absolutely, so you see that in the movie. And the sound design for the guns on these exosuits actually is the same sound design that was used in Aliens, of all things. So Aliens, way back in 1986. The same gun effects, or gun sound effects back in Aliens, are the same gun sound effects on these exosuits in Edge of Tomorrow. And speaking of Aliens, the late, great Bill Paxton is in this movie. Yes, Bill Paxton. Chet from Weird Science. That's right. Bill Paxton from Twister and True Lies and Apollo 13. One of my favorite all-time actors from Fort Worth, Texas. And but he'll always be Chet in Weird Science to me, you know. So he'll always be like, "How about a greasy pork sandwich served in a dirty ashtray?" Oh man, I love that movie. Classic, absolutely classic Bill Paxton. And so, yeah, he was in Aliens too, of course. I mean, he played Hudson in Aliens, and so they're using the exact same gun sound effects for the suits as they did in Aliens. And speaking of guns, I mean, this movie has a lot of cool action. And, here's just a scene to kind of illustrate that.
Trying to save you. We're getting slaughtered. You need to get us off this beach. We have to go. This dropship is about to explode. We have to go now. Wait. Come on! The ship is going to explode! What are you doing?
Find me when you wake up.
What?
Come find me when you wake up.
Man. Yeah, and as you can tell from that, the soundtrack is banging too. So that's, I believe, Christoph Beck that did the Edge of Tomorrow soundtrack. And, the music cues that go with the action are just next level. Absolutely. So I think after you're done watching this movie, because you are going to go out and watch this movie, right? Right? Yeah. You got to do it for your fellow man. Do it for Merica. Yes, got to do it. And so I think at the end, you'll say to yourself, you'll think of this kind of as a cross between Groundhog Day, as I've already mentioned, and Starship Troopers. You know, the Paul Verhoeven, adaptation of the Robert Heinlein novel Starship Troopers, but the movie was nothing like the novel, or barely anything like the novel. But yeah, but I think that's an apt description of this movie. Is Groundhog Day meets Starship Troopers. Throw some aliens in there too, like I had mentioned. Kind of like that. I would actually even throw like a little Saving Private Ryan in there as well, because they do kind of end up kind of on a cross-country trek, to accomplish a very important Earth-saving mission, but instead of saving Matt Damon, they're saving the world. So, and you also see that, like I said, Emily Blunt's character Rita she's a battler, man. She's a fighter, and she's an excellent soldier, and she actually uses like this pretty big sword in the movie there. It's also known as like a melee weapon. And you may ask yourself, you're like, okay, there's all these high-tech guns with what seems like endless ammo in this movie. What would you be using a sword for, especially against these aliens, these mimic aliens that like move very lively and very like quick and jerky, and they move super fast. And it turns out she uses this melee weapon, this big sword, because her character was in the same situation that Tom Cruise's character was at this point. She would die, she'd relive the day, she'd die, she'd relive the day, rinse and repeat, right? And she did that often enough where she realized, okay, I keep dying because I keep running out of ammo. Now, if I got this big melee weapon, this big sword, that never runs out of ammo. So she got accustomed to using that. So she looks pretty spectacular, and she puts it to good use. She puts that melee weapon to good use. But yeah, that's the rhyme and reason behind that. So this is like a little behind the scenes, substance, to backstory to her character. Absolutely. So, and also the writing in this movie is fantastic. So Tom Cruise's character, he's got quite the arc in this movie. A lot of his movies, he doesn't have much of an arc. He is just like the best at what he does, in a lot of his movies from the get-go. He's the best. He's an authority figure. He's a quintessential hero type from the jump. He doesn't have to gain any courage because he's already like just chock full, 100% to the brim, filled with courage, right? Well, in this movie, not so much at the beginning. This guy is like a spokesman for the military. Like he just goes on news shows on news channels, and they show that at the beginning of the movie. He's like going on CNN and Meet the Press and all these shows as just a military spokesman showing up in full dress uniform, and he's kind of like this serving up the military propaganda. Probably hasn't fired a weapon since basic. I mean, it's just, and so he is pretty much a coward. There's no other way of saying it. At the beginning of this movie, he's portrayed as the ultimate coward. And he is, is pretty soft for being in the military, and he is, he's thrust into a situation where, he doesn't get to be a coward anymore. Nope. He puts himself in a situation, or he's helped into putting himself in this situation where, he's got to go out there, and obviously, as I've told you before, prior to this in this review, he becomes a soldier, right? No more Meet the Press, no more reliable sources on CNN, and he's on the beach and he's fighting aliens, and so he has to overcome his cowardice, and he develops courage, and like Bill Paxton's character, in this movie, Major Farrell says in this movie, or Sergeant Major Farrell in this movie, Bill Paxton. Says in this movie, he's like, hey, there's no courage without fear, right? Because if you had no fear, right, well, you wouldn't need courage because you don't have any fear to overcome, right? And no truer words have been said. So yeah, there is quite the arc, the character arc for Tom Cruise. He's this coward at the beginning, and then he is what he is at the end of the movie, and I will let you see that for yourself right there. But yeah, this screenplay was co-written by Christopher McQuarrie, who also co-wrote Top Gun Maverick, which that movie was very well written as well. And Christopher McQuarrie directed Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, Mission Impossible Fallout. He's now going to direct him in Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 2. So, yeah, Christopher McQuarrie, he's got a lot of collaboration with Tom Cruise. I think he had something, I can't remember if he directed the Jack Reacher movies or he just co-wrote those. But, apparently, Christopher McQuarrie and Tom Cruise like to collaborate together quite a bit. Kind of a Johnny Depp, Tim Burton, Leonardo DiCaprio, Martin Scorsese kind of, partnership, if you will. So, and then Doug Liman, who directed this movie, he later on collaborated with Tom Cruise in the movie American Made, where Tom Cruise played Barry Seal, a pilot that was a CIA pilot running drugs in and out of running drugs into America, I should say. So yeah, and Doug Liman produced that. Doug Liman, he may sound familiar. His big breakthrough was Swingers back in the 90s with Jon Favreau and Vince Vaughn. Vince Vaughn. Ron Livingston, you might know him from Office Space there. Then he later on did another underappreciated movie called Go in 1999, and that was a great Doug Liman movie. Also did The Bourne Identity, so the first Matt Damon, Jason Bourne movie called The Bourne Identity, and then Mr. and Mrs. Smith with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Also did some movie called Jumper with Hayden Christensen. I guess when Hayden Christensen was trying to cash in on his Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader stardom from the prequels, and Doug Liman put him in Jumper, and Jumper was not an underappreciated movie. It deserved the box office it got. It made about 33 cents at the box office, and it didn't even deserve half of that. So hey, good one, Doug Liman, on that. But you know what? He's still batting like 883. I mean, I'd say that's probably like the only stinker of a movie he does this movie Chaos Walking. I think was a movie that I think it was like his most recent theatrical theatrical attempt, and that one wasn't so hot. So 2 out of what, no Meatloaf, not 2 out of 3, 2 out of 6 or 7, right? And so Doug. So enough about Doug Liman. You're probably like, God, I get it, Van. Doug Liman, he directs movies. Okay, but yeah, I really would encourage you to check out Edge of Tomorrow. It got a bad rap at the theater just because it's not a Marvel movie or it's not Star Wars. It doesn't have that guaranteed magnet, that gets all the normies, off the couch and into the theaters. And so this is, and I made sure I wouldn't saw this movie twice at the theater because, I want original content like this to get made, and I want to have it get made with a big budget like this one did. It's been rumored for years, that they're going to make Edge of Tomorrow 2, and Emily Blunt and Tom Cruise and Doug Liman have been asked about it repeatedly. Emily Blunt point blank said that, hey, her and Tom and Doug Liman, they want to do it. It's just the budget would be just way too big, and the studio is just based off of the box office. Don't get me wrong, this movie made $100 million, at the box office. It was like Tom Cruise's first $100 million movie since 2005's War of the Worlds. So, but just in comparison to its budget, domestically, it just did not do so hot. And so studios might be a little wary to give it, the budget it had or even more. I think it would have to have a higher, even bigger budget to up the stakes, with Edge of Tomorrow 2. I really hope they do it. God, I hope they do it. If they're doing Dune too, I love Dune, but Dune didn't really it wasn't I wouldn't call a box office hit, and they greenlit a sequel to that, like 3 minutes after it came out in the theaters. So yeah, they should do another Edge of Tomorrow. Yeah, and I think after you watch this movie, which you will, of course, I know you will, I think you'll agree with me. Absolutely. So, all right, hey, well, everybody, with that, again, as always, I really appreciate you listening in. You guys are fantastic for listening in here. And, check me out on Twitter and Instagram. This is at Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, these episodes are at. And with that, hey, everybody, like I always say, get out there. Those movies aren't going to watch themselves. Ciao.
Hey guys, don't leave the video quite yet. Okay, I've got the Popo. They're coming after me. And I don't have much time to tell you, but you need to like and subscribe this video right here, down below. It's right down there. It's just it's waiting for you down there, okay? And make sure you watch these videos over here too. You'll be doing me a big favor. I'll be in handcuffs pretty soon. All right. Thanks for watching.